Well, there's a lot to get to with Charlie Gasparino here on KCMO, Fox Business Network, Mizzou's finest alum. He's got a new book out, too, that I do want to touch on before we wrap up the show called Go Woke, Go Broke. But first, Charlie, I saw this report that you put up this morning saying that a big Kamala Harris supporter is insisting that, this new proposal on taxing unrealized gains isn't really her idea, it's Biden's, and nobody should worry at all about Kamala Harris doing something like this. What do you make of that?
Well, the guy, I might as well say who it is now because I'm breaking on your show because, he's kind of public about it. He's been tweeting about it. So it's Mark Cuban, who I
thought about Cuban. I wondered if it was him. He's losing his mind.
He's a great guy. I like him. I know him a little socially. We've had drinks and we've hung out. Or I don't know if he drinks, but we've been at places where people were drinking and I was drinking. But he's a really nice guy, and I appreciate his candor and his willingness to argue with people. I think that's a good thing. But he makes no sense here. I mean, okay, so it's in the platform that the Democrats and whoever is the president, whether it's Biden or her, wants to, do this thing on unrealized capital gains, which is totally insane that even he knows it's insane, right? So what he's trying to tell me is that this platform is Biden's platform, not hers. And she hasn't said a word about it, and I guarantee it's never going to come out this way. This is not how it's going to be when she is ready to finalize her economic proposals. Apparently, she is still developing them. So, but my point to him is this. Number one, the platform is her platform. She hasn't said a word about this. Number two, it was her platform as VP. There's not that much daylight here. I know Biden's the president, but did she really have a fundamental difference with him on economic issues as VP? No. Number three, if she really needs more time to develop a coherent economic policy, I mean, this is after spending her entire adult life in politics, the last 4 years as VP. There's literally less than 3 months left, almost 2 months left to the election day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we dealing with here? Obviously the elevator, in terms of intellect, the elevator doesn't go to the top floor. If none of this Kamala Harris, which is trying to put it nicely that she's not that smart. This is really a problem. And, he is really arguing with me about this. And we're going back and forth. And
oh, my goodness. Well, take people through this policy of taxing unrealized gains. So if you buy Apple stock, it goes up 20%. You don't sell it, you'd get taxed on it. This apparently would only apply to those who are super, super, super wealthy. But why should the person on Main Street care about this? And why should they feel like this could be a bad thing for them as well in the end?
Well, why does it only apply to the super wealthy? Do they have an income cutoff on this? I don't know.
Yeah. I thought I saw $100 million cutoff, but, I don't know. But who knows?
Who knows? I'm just telling you that once you start opening the doors to something stupid like this, unrealized capital gains, you're opening the doors to a lot of stupid things. You know what I mean? And by the way, you want rich people to invest in stocks. You want them to invest in companies. You want to. That's the whole notion of capitalism. I hate to say it, though. These companies, you want people to buy their stock so the company has capital to expand and to employ Americans. That's just kind of how it works. It's why people can't wait to get in this country, because as screwed up as we are, we have this system that kind of works. And that's why people are flooding in to come here from all over the world, because of this system. And, the fact that Biden and Kamala Harris are mocking it, and the fact that Mark Cuban has to contort himself to explain this is really crazy. The thing that really kind of makes me wonder about him is not, listen, I understand he hates Trump. There's a tortured history between Cuban and Trump, but which we don't have time to get into. But he's actually trying to make the case that she didn't have enough time to come up with an economic policy of her own. Think about this. She's been in office for 4 years as VP. She has no thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, this is obviously, this is the most staged Potemkin presidency nomination process we have ever seen. It's a person that has no clue, who's being told essentially by advisors what to say. It's scary. I mean, we're it's like one extreme to another. It's like one candidate doesn't listen to advice, keeps just mouthing off constantly and getting himself in trouble, meaning Trump. And we have one that's so totally staged that she has zero original thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really scary, if given how close the polls are. But, you know, I guess the good news is I still think Trump's going to win as much as he wants. He's making it difficult.
Yeah.
I just don't think, you know, getting back to my book, I know you mentioned it's about, you know, how corporate America went woke and the huge backlash that occurred. And that's what I kind of chronicled, which no one has chronicled yet, but it did happen. And it's still happening with companies ditching DEI policies because the consumer hates all this wokeness. You know, if it doesn't sell to the American consumer, how is wokeness going to sell in a political candidate? Because if anything, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are woke, you know, writ large. That's what they are. They brag about it.
Yeah.
Bizarrely woke.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't think they can make the sell. It didn't work for Disney. Didn't work. You know, in my book, I talk about Disney and all these companies. Disney stock hasn't moved since 2014. I wonder why.
That's unreal. So that book, Go Woke, Go Broke, that is out, that people should get. Charlie Gasparino is here on KCMO. Are you seeing a shift across corporate America back to the center? Is the pendulum moving back, or are there still too many out there who think this, you know, let's be as woke as we can, all the DEI training in the world and all this other nonsense is still the way forward?
No, it's moving back. I mean, that's what the book's about. It's like how we got here. And I tell it in stories. This is not like a textbook. Trust me on this. You'll get a good laugh out of it. You'll be enraged and you'll laugh. But it does talk about how the American consumer fought back. Because the American consumer, you know, is not woke. And I'm not talking, this cuts across racial lines. It cuts across, you know, sexual lines. I mean, the wokeness is something that's kind of conjured out of left field. You know, and it's far left field that it alienates liberals. And it alienates black people. It alienates Hispanics, and that's what happened here. And you know, leave it to a bunch of, you know, woke white guys to come up with something that turned off 70% of the country.
Was Bud Light the biggest thing? Was Bud Light the nail in the coffin, or was there stuff other that didn't get as much attention?
No. There's a lot. I mean, there's ESG at BlackRock.
Yeah.
You know, Larry Fink at BlackRock becomes this sort of poster child for woke investment practices, and BlackRock, which is super powerful, $2 trillion of assets, loses $2 trillion in assets.
Wow.
You know, that was, I mean, just on scale, that was bigger. You know, Budweiser and Dylan Mulvaney and, you know, the trans woman activist in the bubble bath sipping a beer, you know, was a visual.
Yes.
To say, right?
Yes.
That you can't unsee. So that kind of, you know, that took down that brand. But that brand has been going woke, that company, ever since, you know, the Bushes sold it in, I think, 2008, 2009. The company was bought by, I mean, I talk about this, a very Davos, DEI-centered beer conglomerate out of Brazil. It's called AB InBev now. It's InBev is the name of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why you had Bill Mulvaney, they tried to pin it on some marketing people, you know, that went rogue, but that's not really it. I mean, they had DEI standards that they were forcing their influencers who, you know, more and more companies are using influencers now on social media because it's cheap and effective, and they are really cheap at InBev, by the way. They started slashing Budweiser's marketing, you know, the iconic Clydesdales, those wonderful commercials back. I mean, I talk about just how, like, amazing those commercials were, how American they were. There was this one commercial after 9/11 where the Clydesdales walk up, you know, are marching up towards like a field, and they see the Twin Towers, like, and you see like just the Twin Towers are no longer there. You see the Manhattan skyline, and they take a knee.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone from that to Dylan Mulvaney at this company.
Yeah.
And I talk about like how they got there, but it was more than just rogue people. It was DEI. They were saying, listen, you have to, they were sort of pushing DEI through the influences where they started including in their DEI mandates, the various, members of the rainbow, including, the trans community.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in that or not, it's very off-brand to be shoving that and throwing that in Budweiser drinkers' face who just want to have a beer and watch a football game or whatever. So anyway, I got into all that.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you'll like it.
It's good stuff.
It's a good read. Yeah. And it's, by the way, all documented. You'll see endnotes, footnotes. I gave everybody a chance to comment.
There you go. It's going to be great. Go woke, go broke. Charlie Gasparino, Fox Business Network. Check out the book. And we appreciate you being here as always, Charlie. Thanks for joining us on KCMO.
My pleasure.